And a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV from our studio at Region Accra. The Akuya Boy Studio. Very active on Twitter and Instagram at Metro TV GH, on Facebook, on YouTube at Metro TV Ghana. I am Bright Nana Kwesi Amini, and today on the show we are talking about assessing the impact of the PREKO protest and some other economic issues here on the show. Stay with us. We'll be back with more.
There are three demands. One, the president, vice president, and the minister for finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, must resign. Number two, by the constitution, the speaker of parliament takes over. So when the speaker of parliament takes over, and it is just for 3 months, he should roll out measures to cushion the Ghanaian. Take off some taxes so that the prices of food and petrol can come down. We must survive first before the other economic indicators. We must survive first before we look at the other economic indicators, right? Then number three, he should take steps to strengthen the cedi. The cedi is currently the worst currency in Africa, and at a point it was the worst in the world. This is untenable. It's such a shame that Ghana is at such a low level that we are so down, that we've been embarrassed, that we've been ridiculed. This country has been subjected to so much contempt because of the bad economic policies of President Akufo-Addo, most of which were activated by personal interest, greed, that Ofori-Atta's company, Data Bank, will make profit from every borrowing that we undertake as a nation. This has never happened. That is a shame. And so President Akufo-Addo has to go.
Right. He addressed the Ghanaians about a week ago. Tomorrow will be 1 week since he addressed. He outlined some measures he and his government feels that would cushion the ordinary Ghanaian in a short, medium, and long term. We also heard the finance minister speak. He said that we'll see some appreciation of the cedi by the end of the year, this year, even though we are in crisis at this time around. Don't you think some of the measures they put in place is going to revamp the economy?
Not at all. Listen, what the president said that day is basically candidate Akufo-Addo talking in 2016. He had always said so. He promised that when elected, he would change the structure of the Ghanaian economy within 18 months. He said that he would change the structure of the Ghanaian economy within 18 months. He was moving us from a Gadgetsburg economy. What he meant was that we will become self-sufficient. We will no longer be import-dependent. So he's going to do an import substitution policy. Yes, he has brought one district, one factory, but that's not sufficient. It is not up to scratch at all. He doesn't have what it takes to roll out a proper industrialization. So one district, one factory doesn't cut master, right? So candidate Akufo-Addo promised and promised. He came into office, he couldn't deliver. And not only that, worst of it, he has come to profit from every cedi, every dollar we borrow. And that is so obscene. That is too brazen. It is conflict of interest. You heard all the MPs. You heard the MPs say that there is conflict of interest. Ofori-Atta is the president's cousin. So when Ofori-Atta makes money through Data Bank, Ofori-Atta is making money for the Akufo-Addo family. Ofori-Atta is making money for the Akufo-Addo family.
DOT has the rate. How much gets the dollar? The number is
me back on a walk no fuel so Ghana. Now walk no rate no but dollar na go dey abochi sem. Abochi na
Good afternoon to you, Ghana, and welcome back to the show here on Metro TV. Some interesting remarks there from the PREKO demonstration that took place on Saturday here in Accra, Ghana. You earlier heard from Martin Pibu, who is a private legal practitioner and the convener of the demonstration, later by one of the members who were there to join the demonstration. And I'll be joined in the studio by two very interesting guests here this afternoon. The heat has already started, and I'm here with, and I'm already in the studio with Palgrave Boachi Dankwa. He is government spokesperson on governance and security. Good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome. Good to see you once again.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, and Ni Ayi Oparis, national spokesperson for Economic Fighters League, all glad in his red cap.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana.
Greetings and thank you.
Great to have you.
Yes, sir.
Are you now to the European like look like a military man?
Yes. They're not the only ones called to service service of the nation. Indeed, the Constitution, the anthem, and our national pledge enjoins every youth of Ghana to rise up to the task of duty to Ghana. Yes.
I'll come back to you. But then also joining me on Zoom is Adib Sani, who is a security analyst, and he was also part of the demonstration on Saturday. That's a very good conversation here this afternoon. Let's begin with Pargrave Wachidankwa. Good afternoon to you once again.
Good afternoon,
Before
Bright.
we speak, just this morning, reports from Fitch says that there's a 50% chance Ghana will default on its debt repayment. And also, according to Bloomberg, Ghana was considering restructuring parts of it, 190.3 billion, approximately $13.6 billion of local debt as part of the talks with its National Monetary Fund. The economy, what is happening to it? Are we bouncing back?
A very good afternoon to you, Bright, and to your viewers, and to Ni, who is almost like a lieutenant this afternoon with his red beret.
Yes.
And to Abib on Zoom. You know, Bright, I am very certain that where we are as a country needs a collective effort of everyone in ensuring that we bounce back better. Our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is the leader of government, has assured the Ghanaian people our government's resoluteness in ensuring that we bounce back better, especially and stronger within the economy. You are aware the measures that government has put in place, and government is feeling the pinch of that. I have stated over and over again that you will not have any government in this Fourth Republic that will cut expenditure to the tune of 30% as much as our government has done, even in the midst of these global crises and challenges. When you listen to the voting that is going on in Georgia and other parts of the United States of America, former President Barack Obama laments that inflation is at the highest globally. And it's not just in the United States of America. And it's important that we remind the Ghanaian people that it's not just in Ghana. We sympathize with the challenges that we are all going through. It's a challenge that is berated by all of us, even in government. And government showing leadership and ensuring that we feel the plight of that since March of 2022 has cut down expenditure. Every single person that is appointed by the Akufo-Addo government from the 1st of April's salary has been cut by 30%. MMD's salaries have been cut by 30%. Ministers of state, deputy ministers of state, CEOs, deputy CEOs, their salaries have been cut by 30%. Government expenditure has been cut by 30%. Fuel voucher has been cut by 50%. Starting of public offices has been put on a hold. Traveling moratorium has come to an end. Clearly, you can see that our government is feeling the plight of the Ghanaian people. And as a result of that, we are burden sharing in the midst of that. Now, President has also assured us in terms of our economic recovery plan to ensure that we come to a conclusive closure of our IMF conversations. You are aware that we already had begun an IMF conversation sometime in the mid of this year. And we've gone closer to coming to an end. The president has assured the Ghanaian people and the government as well that by the time we end into December 2022, we would have concurrently finish the IMF negotiation. So clearly, you cannot say that government is blinded to it. I'm aware that there are two major issues. The first is the rise in fuel and definitely the rise in prices. You are aware that when the president addressed the nation, and proud to that, the president had met various stakeholders, met Forest Bureau, met CEOs of banks, met with Bank of Ghana, met with market women, met with the employers union, met with TUC, GUTA, and all of that. Now, the president has stated to the market women that it's important that in the midst of the challenges that we all have as a Ghanaian people, we shouldn't increase considerably the prices of goods and services, especially when these are old goods, that we are all burden sharing, that our Ghanaian city is going to appreciate against the US dollar. And we are assuring the Ghanaian people that even in the midst of this, we all must come together. I think that the call for the president or the vice or any person of government to be impeached or removed, I don't think that is where we are now.
We will come to that, but what I want to ask is, per all these cuts that you've mentioned and all the strategies put in place by government, what has been the effect?
So it's estimated, really. I mean, if you recall from the 1st of April, it was estimated that we would raise close to about 30 to 33 million Ghana cedis from the time we were ending by December. When the president spoke, he stated that he had extended it to 2023. So Christmas is not going to be very, very easy for government appointees and government workers because we are burden sharing. New Year is not going to be easy for government workers and government appointees because we are burden sharing.
I think the entire country is suffering, not just government appointees.
Well, yes. I mean, so it's important that whilst we hold the narrative, we let the demonstrators, who are also Ghanaians, get to know that it's not just the demonstrators that are feeling the plight of the economic challenges.
All right.
All of us that are involved in it, and leadership as well. And we have admitted that we are in a major crisis. And the president has stated that when the president was having the state of the economy. The president stated that we are indeed in a crisis. But in the midst of the crisis, government is working. And I've considerably stated our lights are on, children are going to school, we have free SHS, we have one district, one factory, we have planting for food and jobs. This morning when I was coming, I realized that there was a truck huge of plantain coming into Accra. There's a major
Is that the
harvest.
agric minister's call for a market to be opened at the ministry's office?
Well, the agric minister is doing his
Is that where
part.
the plantain is going?
No, not at all. Not at all. This is a private person who is bringing plantain into Accra, and considerably, I've seen that's a major bumper harvest in this country.
PREKO, I'll come back to you, but then I believe issues like QTAC threatening strike over conditions of service and even NAPCO trainees who are also calling for fasting and prayers are some of the reasons why you hit the street on Saturday. What has been the impact of the demonstration?
Right. Thank you very much. Greetings to your viewers out there, and I like that you have a smile on your face already. I'm trying to tone down the fire because I've been blasting since early morning. But it's interesting to listen to my brother here, Mr. Paul Grave, try to defend the government. I commend you for your efforts, yes. It's not an easy job to do. I don't envy you right now at all. But down to the issues, you see, leadership is about problem solving, right? So the mark or the measure of a leader is based on how much of a problem you're able to solve. That's the basic thing we have to agree on. Are we in agreement? Right. So yes, we don't blame the government for the COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, they were not the cause of it. I don't think the president's the one who got infected first. We don't blame the president or the government for the war in Ukraine. He was not the first person who launched a missile attack on Ukraine. So yes, we understand that they're not the cause of those things. But then again, this is where the mark of leadership is missing. If you are a leader, problems come. Most of them are unexpected, right? But it is how you meet those problems, is how you be judged. Let's put that on pause. Let me come down to the demonstrators. You're talking about government cutting down 30% on all of their expenditure and all of those things. I don't know if you're expecting us to applaud that. Certainly not. We've complained from the very beginning that you have an elephant-sized government. Over 120 ministers, minus the deputies. You're talking about a huge government structure. So if you turn around and you tell us you're reducing your expenditure by 30%, that is not anything to be applauded for.
But is that not, can't you say that?
I wish you would have let me just flow. I'll come to that.
I'll let you.
You didn't interject him. Thank you. So there's no reason to applaud that. If you had cut down your government size from the very beginning, we wouldn't have even been in this situation in the first place. Put that on the side too. Now you talk about burden sharing. Let me tell you, you do not share the burden of Ghanaians. The president in his remarks says we are in this together. I say we are not in this together. When was the last time the president ever took his own money to buy fuel at the fuel pumps? When was the last time the president or any of his appointees, the ministers and all of those Article 71 office holders, when was the last time any of them went to the market and did shopping with their own pocket monies?
Maybe PREKO can tell us.
When was the last time the president or his appointees paid rent in this country? When was the last time the president and his appointees paid utility bills in this country? When was the last time? So if you tell us they're sharing the burden with us, which burden are you sharing? I wish you could answer that to the Ghanaian people, but we'll come to that again. On Saturday, the youth of Ghana decided to come on the streets to let out their anger, their frustrations, right? And I've seen the comments and all of those things coming out. It's interesting and sad that people who should actually be speaking words that would encourage people and motivate them to get some sense of hope are rather ridiculing what we're trying to do on Saturday. Some are talking about how some people don't even understand why they came out on the streets. And that is really telling. Because if people could leave the comfort of their homes and get into trotros and taxis and whichever mode of transportation they use, despite the increasing fares just to come on the streets, even without understanding. That should tell you something. It means people are tired and they are willing to go with anything that would seem as a solution. That's desperation in our people today. And that stems out from bad governance. So there's nothing I can say here. I'm struggling to even find out which burden you're talking about that we share together. And Mr. President can come back and let us understand how he's sharing in our burden. Because there's no burden sharing here. There's no burden sharing. His last visit to the Ashanti region, we counted on our TV screens over 40 V8 vehicles. Do you know how much it costs to fuel one V8 for a trip that's going to cost over 300 kilometers? And you're talking about 40 of them. Now, mind you, they're going to be individuals who will be tending to the president. All those who have to be taking care of their accommodation, their food, and maybe perhaps some per diems. If we're going to run a total calculation of how much it costs the president on his tour to Kumasi and back to Accra, that money could have been put to better use. So then if you tell us you're having austerity measures by cutting down your expenditure by 30%, that is nowhere near enough, and there's nothing to be applauded for when you're talking about these statistics. Now, let me address my people directly. We give the mandate to the MPP government, and it may be my interest you to note, I was actually one of the polling agents that worked in the 2016 election for Madam Osler back in Lukuma West constituency. Yes. So it is with no malice that I speak against what is happening, but then it's Ghana first and no party affiliations here. But we're dealing with our people here. Now, we believed in the message of the president and we voted for him in 2016, hoping that, yes, his track record as a political activist and a political player would have come to bear, and indeed would have seen Ghana go into a different dispensation. But what do we see today? Left to me alone, I wish the president never became president, because then would have been speaking with him, about him with fond memories, and would have been talking about possibilities. Oh, he probably would have been one of the finest presidents Ghana never had. But today, what's happened to the president's record? In all honesty, if you're going to have a public opinion poll on the performance of this president, it would have been worse, it would have been better off if he never came into office. Everywhere he goes, he's being booed at. We're told that was a fabrication. But we saw what happened in the Volta region just over the weekend. The vice president, when he was booed out, when he was actually in the middle of his speech. And listen to my brother Pelgrave, it sounds like a broken record. You talk about the One District, One Factory, the free SHS and all of those programs. Where are they today? We can take them fact by fact and do the statistics on them and see if there's anything to write home about. Those statistics don't wash. Someone who is barely making 3 square meals a day does not care about what your One District, One Factory is doing. How does that translate into his livelihood? You talk about planning for food and jobs being a success. Where's the food? Why is food inflation really high? Are you trying to tell me that Ghana has been so successful that we've stopped the importation of basic produce like onions and tomatoes? We are still importing tomatoes and onions into this country as we speak. So what produce or what products, agricultural products, is the agri minister talking about that his planning for food and jobs has been successful in implementing or in cultivating?
All right, thank you. That's quite some intense and long speech right there. let me come to you, Palgrave. Now, do you know that the NAPCO trainees are embarking on a fasting and praise on Wednesday to have God help government pay their bills? Have you heard of that?
I haven't heard of it. But one of the things that...
But how does that make you feel to know that NAPCO trainees will be embarking on a fasting and praise on Wednesday? How does that make you feel?
There are some areas, really, that needs to be paid. Government is not blinded to that. Government is aware, very much in the books of government. Persons that have worked whose salaries or benefits have not been given to them. We are aware of it, and we would pay. Government would pay all NAPCO trainees. I think that for me, how I feel really about the economy is that the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the leadership of the EMT is ensuring that we are reviving this economy one after the other. I'm very much highly involved.
Is there time for that?
No, absolutely. There's so much time for that. Our government is still in office to govern the good people of this country. We're going to a major election in 2024. And so there is enough time for that to ensure that we build and bounce this economy back, really. And, I'm highly informed that there is a team that have gone to ensure that we get cheaper cost of fuel. This conversation has been going on for some time, that we can be able to alleviate the plight of the Ghanaian people. I'm also aware that the Minister for Transport met with the GPRTU earlier today to have conversations around their prices. So we appreciate those challenges. You know, when Nee just opposed and states that it would have rather been better that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was not president and that he would have been acclaimed as the president that Ghana never had. Well, it would interest me and the rest of the Ghanaian people that are listening, with all humility, that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo overwhelmingly won the election in 2016 by 1 million votes, unprecedented in this country. Now, you are aware that the hope and the desire that the Ghanaian people had in President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is continually strong, and we are very much certain that we'll deliver the mandate that we give to the Ghanaian people. All 16 flagship programs that our government sought to bring out are all flying at 100% as I speak to you. There are challenges in the economy, but even in the midst of the challenges, like I've stated, earlier over the weekend, I had to travel towards the Ashanti region. I've seen major infrastructural work, road infrastructural work, from Pokwase all the way through to Insawam, major expansion of works. So you cannot take away the development of the country in the midst of the challenges. And our government is seeking to address those inimical challenges.
But while we build streets and roads and overpass and all that, people are hungry. Shouldn't also be a priority. Like you just mentioned, we shouldn't just look at
100% a priority. 100, you see, Abraham Maslow talks about the basic needs of humanity. 100% a priority. It is a priority for government that, yes, definitely, it's the economic challenges that the government needs to deal with. And that's what we are addressing. Why are food prices that high? Because people are transporting those foods from farm market A to farm market B, and then finally coming to goods and services for us to be able to purchase and use to cook in our kitchens. So in the midst of that, government is working on addressing these very, very, very teething and economic challenges. And I would just assure the demonstrators who have decided that they will do a regional demonstration. The law permits them to do that. But in the midst of that, whilst they go around and they go to maybe Region 3 and the issues have been solved, they should come back and say thank you to the leadership of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Why that?
Because we are going to address the issues. We are not blinded to the challenges of the issues. We are addressing the issues. As I speak to you, we are addressing the issues very much.
Which of the issues are you addressing? Is it the sacking of the finance minister or what exactly?
There are myriad of issues in government. I mean, you are aware of that. I mean, so you raise sacking of the finance minister. Today is his birthday. I wish him a happy birthday. I'm sure that the lieutenant here would also wish him a happy birthday. I saw that Metro TV had tweeted a special happy birthday to the Honorable Finance Minister. I can tell you of a truth. The Honorable Finance Minister, the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, has done extremely well. I mean, remarkably well. Remarkably well.
Is it so that he's going nowhere?
I had Martin Pebu reference the Eurobond. And I put it on record today. From 2014, it's not just Data Bank that had been transaction advisors. IC Securities had been transaction advisors. Fidelity Bank has been transaction advisors. GCB Bank has been transaction advisors. Stanbic Bank has been transaction advisors. Standard Chartered Bank has been transaction advisors. JP Morgan in New York has been transaction advisors. And I've always stated that the overemphasis, really, of Data Bank tied to Ken Ofori-Atta is neither here nor there. The Honorable Minister for Finance had been resigned clearly from Data Bank well before he came into politics. And so let's situate the conversations very well. Why is it that we are not mentioning Fidelity Bank? Why are we not mentioning Ghana Commercial Bank? Why are we not mentioning Stanbic Bank? Why are we not mentioning Standard Chartered Bank? Why are we not mentioning IC Securities? Why are we not mentioning JP Morgan? All of these have been transaction advisors one way or the other.
Because there's a bit of conflict of interest in there. Am I wrong?
You are very wrong. Extremely wrong. There is no conflict of interest. I tell you of a truth. To the book. In fact, there is no conflict of interest. The finance minister is not the CEO of Data Bank. He might have shares in Data Bank.
So I nearly
it's still
understand.
affiliated.
It's
still affiliation.
No, absolutely.
It's still affiliation.
Now, you see, there is a Zulu proverb that says that Ubuntu, Uguntu, Ugabantu. You are who you are because of other people. You do not exist as an island. Now, every single person around this table is interconnected one way or the other. When he walked in, I told him that I know Ernest Yeboah. I was in the University of Ghana with Ernest Yeboah. So everybody is connected one way or the other. You cannot discredit Data Bank for the level of investment and integrity that they have had over the past 20 plus years of their existence in this country. You cannot discredit that. And I think that it's important we situate it very well. Suppose that once upon a time in the future, you resign from Metro TV and you decide to start your own work, and people try to say that because once upon a time you worked at Metro TV cannot get a particular. Metro TV is a standalone company that is credible enough to be able to bid for a transaction advisors.
If I'm in charge of a company and I'm bidding for a contract, and Metro TV comes in, don't think I'll be charged for conflict of interest?
From 2014, who was in power at the time?
No, don't think I'll be charged for conflict of interest?
No, from 2014, 2015, 2016, the MPP government was not in power. Who was in power at the time? Why was data bank transaction advisors? Why was that not a problem? And so let's situate it very well.
It was not a problem
because you were not in government.
Let's situate it.
Because the MPP wasn't in government.
It was not because the MPP was not in government.
That was why it was not being talked about.
Foriata in 2014, 2015, 2016 was not working at data bank. You tell me. He was not working at data bank. The Honorable Ken Oforiatta in 2014, 2015, 2016 was not the one giving the contract to data bank. So situate it very well. Situated. We all have private lives. We all have private companies that are involved in things that benefits the Ghanaian people. Let's situate it very well so that we don't mix it for the purposes of people that are watching and learning.
All right.
For the growth of the country.
Part mentions that government is putting in extra measures to ensure that we are back on our feet as a country. Now, listen to this. After last week with the marginal appreciation, the Ghana cedi has returned to a depreciation trajectory. The cedi opened this morning, November 7, going for 13.95 Ghana cedi to $1 in the retail or forex market. However, it has since declined in value to 14.20 Ghana cedi to one American greenback. Now, the average code for the Forex Bureau indications, however, it is selling at 13.14 Ghana cedi on the interbank market, according to the Bank of Ghana, which I saw this morning. Ni, what is happening?
I really want to see those measures they're talking about that are being rolled out that's going to curtail some of these problems. But let me go back to the president's address on last week Sunday. Towards the end of the address, he mentioned specifically that the measures and all of those things he has said in the address, government was actually going to review those things, not this year, but next year, May 2023.
No, then no misrepresentation.
Okay.
Then you didn't understand the president.
Yes.
And let me come in. Sorry for the interjection. I know it's your time. Now, the president stated that Ghana is heavily reliant on the importation of goods. Name the goods: rice, vegetable oil, toothpick, water, pasta, and all of that. You understand? Now, the president stated that we are reviewing the importation policy. Now, from now till May 2023, we want to put an end to the importation of these things: rice, vegetable, all of that.
So which part of what I said was not right?
No, it's not like
what did I say that was not right?
No, you said we are going to review it in 6 months.
Review what?
We have been heavily dependent.
No, review what? You're taking my time, so I can ask you that.
Oh, no, you're not the host.
What the host? But my time.
It was my time.
He's not the host. You're the host.
It's my time.
Come on.
No, but I'm trying to explain what the president said.
You get me for my time and I help you.
Okay, I am explaining the president's point.
Let me take my time.
He raised the concern.
Let me take back my time.
I am explaining the president's point.
So he raised the concern about the president's policy, which you wanted to clarify.
And I've clarified.
He's coming back for more clarification.
I take back my time.
That's fine.
You can go on.
I've just clarified that from the time the president made a review, from the time the president made a speech, we have decided as a government that the importation of rice, vegetable oil, pasta, toothpick, and bottled water and ceramics comes to an end. And then in May 2023, we'll review what we have said we are doing now. That's what it is. We are going to review what we have said we are doing now in May 2023. And the president also stated that the expenditure cut, which was supposed to end in December 2022, he has extended it to May 2023. So there's an extension of all government expenditure cuts, all cuts of salaries, every single thing that we placed in view from the cabinet meeting from April till December has been extended an extra 6 months. So that's what I wanted to put in perspective.
All right.
You can have his time back.
You have your time back.
I don't even know what you responded to because I asked a simple question. I mentioned that all these measures the president claims he's going to put in place, we're not going to see anything because there was no clear policy direction as to what's going to be done in the shortest possible time. He says they're going to review the situation, the entire situation, in the next 6 months. So from now to then, what is going to be done? The empty promises you are saying here that we're going to do this. No, show us the clear policies that you're going to introduce that will solve the problem. Not that you're going to review this in the next 6 months. Between now and the next 6 months, what do we do? Stay hungry? I'm coming to that. Anyway, you see, when you listen to government communicators, right, on these issues, they sound like you were saying. The finance minister has done superbly well and all of that. The president has done phenomenal and all of this. This is a different picture you're painting from the reality that the people are facing on the streets. If you ask what's the price of pure water today, is that 50 or 60 pesos? Is that what you mean by the president is doing a fantastic job, or the finance minister is superb at his post? You cannot have a decent meal of gobe today if you don't have more than 10 cedis. Is that what you're referring to as fantastic management of the economy? You see, I do not blame you, Bill. You're in a very comfortable position because you are enjoying the wealth which is supposed to be collective for all of us. So you do not see the hardships. I mentioned before, the government appointees like yourself and the rest of them probably don't have any problem buying your fuel. Because who knows? You're probably getting some fuel coupons.
I'm not getting any fuel coupons.
Well, I said, who knows?
Well, I need to correct the error here. I'm not getting any fuel
No, I'm not accusing you. I'm saying perhaps. You never know.
You're throwing out
but government appointees are enjoying fuel coupons. In fact, they came out that they were spending close to 23 million Ghana cedis a month on fuel alone. You see? So to paint the picture here that the president is doing fantastic, the finance minister is all too good. And the ordinary man on the street is having a hard time even affording 3 square meals in a day. Now, mind you, the minimum wage today is at 13 cedis, 50 pesos, thereabout. What is the price of $1 today? Which means nearly half of the population is living under $1. That's a poor country. That's a poor country. We're living in poverty. Mind you, the World Bank has come out to announce to us that from next year, we could have about 1 million people sink into poverty. Now, that is to remind you that in 2020, the Institute for Statistical Social and Economic Research, ISA, at the University of Ghana, came out with a report called the Ghana Living Standard Survey 7. They said that 9.2 million Ghanaians cannot afford 5 Ghana cedis worth of food, and this was way back in 2020. Today, I can tell you that the number has risen above 9.2 to, I will not be surprised if it's nearly half the population, if not more. So you see, if you're talking about the feasible actions that are going to be taken to make these things work, I was hoping the president would have come up with concrete plans. For instance, tell us you are going to, it's estimated that we import about 440,000 tons of tomatoes every year. The agric minister should have told us that this year we've been able to produce even 400,000 tons of tomatoes. And then we know you're planning for food and jobs is working. Which will mean that we'll not be importing that much tomatoes from outside the country. We have
stock.
Exactly. You see, don't just come and tell us that planning for food and jobs is working. What are the statistics to show? This is a clear case example of tomatoes, 440,000 tons. Tell us how much we produce this year alone. Today we're telling us kenke is expensive because we do not have maize, and that we have to import maize. What is our production, local production of maize today? So on what standards or what statistics are we measuring the achievements of the agric minister?
All right, I'll come back to you, but just so you know, some restaurant owners in the Ashanti region are also entreating customers to make provision to buy soup or stew whenever they buy food. Interesting one there. Let me go on Zoom and speak to Adib Sani, who is a security analyst. And he joins us for more conversation on this. Now, Adib, good afternoon to you and welcome. Adib, good afternoon to you and welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you now. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you were present at the PREKO demonstration. Why were you there?
I was there because I'm a citizen and not a spectator. So I'm responding to the president's call for us to be citizens. That's number one.
All right.
Number two, we're there to represent the voices of the masses who are suffering. A lot of them have been pushed into uncertainty and are in the survival mode. And thankfully, it resonated with the millions of Ghanaians all across the length and breadth of the country. And we are expecting that the government would admit its faults and do the honorable thing.
All right, Adib, now with the current economic downturn that the country is facing, security-wise, how dangerous it is?
There is a direct correlation between economic downturn and physical security. As a matter of fact, economics is security and is the most important aspect of security. And I know my brother Pargrave would agree with me. Human security is so important as has been established by the UNDP in this 1994 Human Development Report. Because it is when people don't have access to basic necessities of life as a result of mismanagement, corruption, preponderance, etc., that some of them are forced into surviving through hook or crook means. Currently, we cannot deny the fact that we have challenges from external sources, COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war. But we are not the only country that has been affected by these two external factors. Most of what we are going through as a country is because the facts were misrepresented. We painted a very rosy picture about the economy, lied to the people into believing that we were doing well when we were headed towards a crash. And our president was, in fact, notified during his interview with Peter Okocha. He bastardized it and said we were on track. Secondly, I know. I mean, Parkwave has been saying a lot of things lately. Government has done this. Government has done that. We are doing this. We are doing that. The question is to what end? How does it translate? How does it reflect on the ground? Recently, my wife went to the shop, and by the way, there's this video making rounds on social media. It's a comedy, a skit. When a gentleman went to a shop, asked for prices, he left. By the time he came back, the
It's
prices
an
changed.
increment.
I don't know whether you've seen it.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. Okay. Guess what happened to my wife 2 weeks ago? She was at the shop. You know, women, when we go as men, we know what we want. So we just pick it up and leave. But she went, we send, we so so within 2 minutes, she was asking for prices. At the point of payment, the seller received a call. Prices had changed. And she told my wife the prices she gave her 2 minutes ago doesn't apply any longer. It increased by about 40%. So just by delaying for 2 minutes, prices have changed. Now we are talking about planting for food and jobs and all that. Currently, as we speak, according to the World Bank, Ghana has the most expensive food in sub-Saharan Africa. As we speak, food inflation for September is about 122%. Okay, and the government also tells us about the general inflation being 37.2%. Meanwhile, Professor Hang, one renowned professor at Johns Hopkins University, has stated that, hey, you guys stop misleading the people. Ghana's inflation rate is about 148%. Okay, and these days, you see, I mean, these days, you don't need Ministry of Finance to give you data. Oh. The data is in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know how much you bought fuel 3 months ago, and you know how much you are buying it today. So you don't if you did primary school maths, you should be able to tell yourself what inflation we are going through. Okay, so we are in a very sorry state, I must say, and I'm hoping that the government will eat the humble by admit that yes, indeed, they made mistakes with the reckless borrowing and all that, and let's see the way forward. But certainly, the way forward cannot be with these two main figures at the helm of affairs, the president and the vice. We need a much more competent hand or pair to take over.
Now, the demonstration was about hashtag Nana must resign. Do you subscribe to that?
100%. Because it's as a result of their incompetence, of their mismanagement, that we've gotten to where we are today. We had 137 MPs coming out to say we don't want the finance minister. He's lost credibility. We cannot work with him any longer. And the president says, no way. I mean, you can, so to speak, I mean, more like showing us a middle finger. Go do your worst. The gentleman is still at post, and you claim to be accountable to the people? Of course not. We know that a lot of inefficiencies, and I was also expecting that when the president spoke to us, he speaks practically, what exactly they are doing. But if I tell you I'll construct you a skyscraper, meanwhile, I don't have the capability or capacity, obviously you would ask how. So the president came to promise us as if he's on a campaign trail. I mean, his usual way of doing things. And he couldn't tell how he's going to achieve that. About 140 ministers, for crying out loud, for a small country like Ghana, is just nonsensical, so to speak. There are too many appointees, all with VAs. And you know how much it takes to fill a VA? It's 2,500 cedis. And all these appointees have their personal assistants who also have VAs. And all this at the expense of the taxpayer. They still travel on business class. The president is private jetting. And you want to tell us we are suffering and we are in this together? Me, I've never taken a private jet before.
Adib, you the conveners were able to pull a very huge number of people on the street on Saturday. I mean, over 500,000 people were there. Over 5,000 people were there, right?
Not 5,000, no.
You don't think they were up to that?
Hundreds.
In 100, you don't think they were up to that? Adib, Congress says you were in the 100, not up to 1,000. Is it true?
No, but I think it's regardless the number.
He was there. It's
No,
still
but
important. But it's also important to know that, listen, people came out. Even if
Yes,
it's one person.
that's what I'm saying.
Even if
So
it's
I'm
one
saying,
person, people
so what
are
I'm
still-
saying,
people are still
we are saying
outside.
the same thing. You and I are saying the same.
Alright.
We are agreeing.
Pagre-
I'm saying that. I'm saying we are agreeing.
I'll come back to you. I will come back to you. There's what? Hundreds of people.
Yes,
which
but
can
it's
amount
not
to 1,000.
It didn't even get to 1,000.
All right.
But it's neither here nor there. It's not the number.
Adib Sani, you are still able. Were you there? Were you there?
I followed the demonstration.
Pagre, you were not to be there. You were not to be on the ground.
But I followed the
How
demonstration.
would you get? How are you able to get an empirical evidence of what happened?
It was covered live.
Please, I can't take that for an answer. Adib Sani, please. You were able to gather a huge number of people on Saturday. Now that you demonstrated with placards and all that, what next for you, the conveners?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
All right, I'm saying what next for you, the conveners, after the demonstration?
Oh, we are still talking amongst ourselves. We are hoping that the president will listen to the voice of reason and do the honorable thing. If not, we shall definitely resort to our next line of action, which we have up our sleeves. But in due course, we would let you know. But one thing is for sure, this is not the end. It's certainly just the beginning of more to come. Come to think of it, there's something that we need to be aware of. You see, why do we judge the popularity of a demonstration based on the number of people who were there? It's not necessarily so. Are you trying to tell us that the demonstration was unpopular? That's why people didn't come? Goodness. It was very popular and it resonated with millions of Ghanaians all across the length and breadth of the country.
Did you say millions?
Okay. Yes, it resonated with millions of Ghanaians all across the length and breadth of the country. So this is not, the fact that it wasn't in the millions doesn't mean that it was unpopular. But what's most important about this demonstration is our voice, what we've been able to achieve. It was all over the place locally. Al Jazeera reported it live, and we've been able to send a clear signal. And by the way, there was also a deliberate attempt to scare people to not even come for the demonstration. And I had family members call me and pleading with me, almost going on their knees, not to be part because there was speculation it would be bloody. And I had a number of messages I could even share with you. Even people locked their shops because they were scared of what would happen because of the kind of information that has been put out there.
Adib, thank you so much for coming with us here on Good Afternoon, and we are grateful. Thank you so much. And Adib was present during Saturday's demonstration here in Accra. And just so you know, there's more coming up. So on the 15th to the 17th, another set of demonstration will be happening here in Ghana. Interesting. We'll tell you more after this break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We're still live here. Good afternoon, Ghana here on Metro TV. Me and Pagre, please, we are back on the show.
Sure.
All right, so let me tell you, before we go, I told you that on the 15th to 17th, there's going to be another demonstration. But yes, the police says that per the National Security and Police Security Intelligence Assessment, there is reasonable grounds that converging at the Revolution Square will endanger public defense, public order, public safety, the running of the essential services, and violate the rights and freedom of other persons. It's supposed to be a demonstration that will happen on the 15th to 17th of this month, and the letter has been addressed to Bernard Mona, who will be leading that particular convergence. Let me ask you, you are involved in demonstrations.
Yes.
What does it mean for routes or locations to be changed?
Yes. All right. So we have to look at the essence of demonstrations. All right. So it is not just the people on the streets or the demonstrators. That's not. I mean, it's not just about the people who are on the streets, right? The message of those on the streets is supposed to go out to the entire nation. That's the essence of a demonstration. Okay. So you're actually solidarizing with people who are not on the streets there. For instance, people in the hospitals. You're looking at the plight of the nurses, right? You're looking at the drivers, the doctors. All of these guys who may not be on the streets, you have to capture their grievances in that event that's happening on the street, right? So the route is very, very critical, in fact, to the entire exercise. Because if you're going to pass through routes where nobody's going to see it, apart from the media coverage.
So you want visibility?
That is one of the key things, yes. There should be visibility on the exercise. People who are not on the streets should see it, and the message should resonate with them. That's the essence of demonstration.
All right, but what do you think the police service will say? No, don't use this particular route, but use the other.
Yes, so they raise concerns of security issues. But the thing is, before the demonstration happens, you have a series of meetings with the police administration. And then you come to an agreement on what the route is supposed to be. Unfortunately, on Saturday, we got onto the grounds when we started marching. The routes were changed when we were in procession. And that is never supposed to be the case.
And what happened?
Well,
You follow the instructions?
and they don't discuss with us. What you realize is, when we get to where we're supposed to take a turn, the police gather and then they form a barricade there.
Barricade.
You get it? So that actually provokes the protesters, because we've agreed we're going through this route. And then whilst we're marching, you find police blocking off some people. I mean, that is teasing out a kind of confrontation.
But Pagre,
No, but let me just chip this in. So there were several times when I had to go and interact with the police. I think there's several videos that are going out. You find me interacting with the police, trying to calm things down, because it was almost deliberate, where they just cut people off and they prevent them from going on the agreed
Don't you
route.
believe it's due to security reasons?
Say again?
It's due to security reasons.
But you communicate that to the organizers, and then we can communicate that to the demonstrators.
Times might have changed.
But so then, how do you want us in that split second to communicate to our followers?
All right, Pagre, you are a speaker for governance security. Tell me, what do you think caused some of these discussions, Pagre? Look at me, I'm talking to you. Look at me.
Yeah, Bright, I think that we should enroll NI into any of the security services.
Oh, I have some security training, so yes, I
No,
could help out.
I mean fully as you roll and
and
roll.
the proper leadership. And the proper leadership.
This leadership
Pagre,
of
can you kindly
President
answer my
Nana
question,
Dankwa
please?
Akufo-Addo is not a failed leadership.
Say that to the Ghanaian people.
I say that to the Ghanaian people and to Bright, that this leadership of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is not a failed leadership.
Ghanaians will be the judge of that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Give me, Bright, I'm coming, just a minute. Give me September 2024. I'll come and do a comparison of all the leaders.
Which the economy that have bounced
I
back.
would put every single thing into place and proper perspective and compare all their leadership regime. And you and I would have a good intellectual conversation. Now,
All right.
right, on security. You are aware that security is extremely dynamic as much as our life is dynamic. Every single microsecond, security experts and government is receiving updates every single microsecond, which might not be easily communicated to the citizenry or to the people. Now, you are going on a demonstration, and on the said date, your route is changed. I do not think that any demonstrator should be unhappy, because your goal is to go for a demonstration.
But also to communicate to people out there.
No, but on your route, you are with the people. So if your route is changed, you just detour to where the police feel is safe for you to go.
But why is that? Because we might have sat and discussed this before.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, that every security is dynamic. Every single nanosecond, the security details changes globally. Every single one. And so you can't rule that out. It's about the safety of people that are not demonstrating. It's about the peace and stability of the country where people are demonstrating, and on and on and on and on.
All right, Pagre, we're wrapping up. Before you go, have you seen the video of the vice president in the Voto region?
I have a great concern.
Tell me about that.
Of the development of certain persons who are gradually purporting to disarm leadership by booing. It's not a characteristic of our Ghanaian culture. Very, very much uncharacteristic of our Ghanaian culture.
There's corruption.
And should the table turn, it's the same thing I would say, that it is own characteristics of the Ghanaian culture and democracy to boo our leaders. People that are purporting these acts should be careful because it is stated, "Abai edibo techino and one edibo ban."
You think it was plotted?
To it. Well, of course. I mean, come on. Do you not think that I always want to have a very clean and pure conscience as it relates to a number of politicking that is going on, but increasingly I am tempted to doubt that a number of these things are not orchestrated.
All right, thank you. We are out of time already, and some messages here from you watching at home. This one says, "Good afternoon. Tell the government spokesperson they should not take the peace of the country for granted. We struggle to get here. If they can't maintain, they should not destroy it. MPP is a failure in this democracy. Kudos to Martin and all demonstrators. Francis Xavier, Laura." Okay. Now, good afternoon, Metro TV. The president has failed completely. Even the MPP themselves supported the demonstration, but due to political affiliation, they couldn't show up. All right. Hashtag Nana must go. Good afternoon, Metro TV. Good work. Please kindly tell, let Palgrave call. Let Palgrave call me or let me have his phone number. Palgrave, okay. I'll tell him if he's willing. Why not? I think the man ensued is not a citizen of Ghana. Or the government or the economy serves him very well. And one day he will regret. Palgrave, and let's say from, please add your name. I'm not the one saying, don't make me, I'm not saying it, please. So I'll just like I mention your name, okay? Palgrave, before you go, a very quick one. There were some placards that were stating that, we want both MPP and NDC out of power. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, a number of the
That
placards
is one of
there.
our major campaigns for the EFL.
Both MPP and NDC.
Yeah, and MPP NDC rule.
All right. And what's the alternative?
Was
What's the alternative?
my time? Do I go?
A quick one, just about 30 seconds.
Oh, 30, I can't do in 30 seconds.
All right.
Yes.
We'll bring it back later. But for now, thank you so much. Palgrave is governance spokesperson on security and and governance, and also Nii here is a convener. Or you're part of the PREKO, right?
Yeah.
And also Arise Ghana.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you
not
so
Arise
much.
Ghana, no.
Yes.
So fix the country.
Fix the country. Yes,
and
thank you.
then-
Fix the country and PREKO. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us in the studio.
Anytime.
And also Adib Sani joined us on Zoom with a bit of the security aspect of this, what exactly this can cost us as a country. I am Bright, and Akosi Amenin. Have a good afternoon.